Let's talk about the Drake and Kendrick battle. But I want to talk about from a business. I have a few business lessons that I think can be learned from this marketing and business lessons. And I'll first start off by saying who won. The biggest winner is Universal Records. The biggest loser
Big facts.
The biggest loser is J. Cole. But in the semantic battle of who won, Kendrick Lamar won the battle, or is winning the battle, in my opinion. But what's interesting is that I think you can learn something from this, right? And the first thing is be extremely careful about accepting challenges when you have everything to lose and nothing to gain. I always say it's not really advantageous to fight down. It is very advantageous to fight up, right?
Fight up. Yep.
In this situation, I think Drake had nothing to really gain in this situation and everything to lose. And I felt that the public was going to pretty much say he lost no matter what he did. He would have had to execute a flawless game plan, a flawless delivery. Anything short of absolute perfection, the fight was kind of fixed. Not to say that Kendrick did what he's supposed to do, but Drake just had so much negativity that just the public animosity for him. That it was kind of a no-win situation for him.
Really cool. What caused the animosity, you think? Because I think that's a great lesson too, and what not to do.
Any type of success breeds envy, man.
Well, I think it's certain, there's a reason why Jay-Z is not on Instagram, why you don't see him, right? There's a reason why Eminem, you never see him. There's a reason why Dr. Dre, you never see him, right? Like, very few people can maintain over a decade of dominance and be in the public eye for all the time and not garnish some level of resentment and hate. It's human nature, right? So I think a lot of it just comes from people just don't like to see people winning for long periods of time. It's like LeBron James.
That's right. That's it. Perfect. That's the perfect comparison.
Another part of it, I think it might be some level of his personality, right? Where he's kind of a person that's easy to hate, right? Let's just be honest. Like, you would traditionally say it like, he's like a corny guy, right? Like traditionally, like that would be somebody who got money and kind of, so it's like, that's always an easy target to kind of pick on somebody like that, right? His upbringing, he's Jewish, he's from Canada, he had the afro, he was on Nickelodeon, he was in the wheelchair, and then he came, and then it's, the narratives. So these are easy narratives to kind of place and put on him, right? He's not from America, he's from Canada. It's a whole thing. And that's part of it, I think, and then also I think, he's done things to kind of troll other people in the past, and that's kind of been synonymous with his personality. It's kind of like, a troll and somebody who's kind of arrogant, and, so those type of people are always easy targets as well. Right? Variety of different factors that kind of make him an easy target. So just be mindful of that when you're building your personal persona, your business persona, that, you have to be whoever you feel comfortable being. But in that type of role, you're going to garnish more hate, as opposed to somebody like Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole, who I don't think anybody hates them, right? They might not like their music, but I never heard one person like really vehemently like dislike them as a person, right? Like they're pretty, it's hard to dislike somebody like that. You don't even see them. They're not flashy. They dress down every time you see them. They don't talk about taking people's girls. They don't show their cars. They don't show their houses. They haven't flashed any money. They don't talk about money. They've kind of checked all the boxes that Drake doesn't. Drake checks every other box. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they're like really total opposites. Shaping narratives is extremely important in marketing for yourself and for your opponent, right? Because what I realized in marketing is that it's not necessarily what's true, it's what people believe to be true.
That's crazy, but you're right.
I mean, we see this all the time, right? Like, if you really look at the thing, this is probably a blackout topic, but it's been historically proven that Jesus Christ wasn't born in December, right? If you look at the archives, but it was marketed. That's how it was marketed, and it's Christmas. So nobody really cares when his actual birthday is. It's not of importance, right? What's more important is the celebration of Christmas, right? So that's a marketing campaign which garnishes trillions of dollars in spending globally every single year, and it works, right? So the actual truth behind it is irrelevant at this point. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
What is more important is what people believe, right? And there's been some narratives that may not be true, but doesn't really necessarily matter, right? It was said. People, the thing about saying something too is that the crazy thing about saying something is that once you say something, somebody never forgets what you said. Somebody never forgets it, right? So even if it gets debunked and it said it's not true, it doesn't really matter because there's going to be some people that still believe it or still remember it, right? So these narratives, whether it's self-inflicted narratives about yourself, some people make up stories about themselves, right? Or it's you make up narratives about your opponent to try to diminish them. That's a tactic that has been used in business for a long period of time. It's not clean, right? But it's one.
It happened with Ralph Lauren and Tommy Hilfiger back in the day.
Exactly. With Tommy Hilfiger, remember that they said that Tommy Hilfiger was a racist. They never really showed you him say this, but it was said enough that to this day, a lot of people still
do business
because they think that he's racist. It's a perfect example.
Yep.
I think you have to take your time and be calculated and confident in your plan and move with speed. Success loves speed. So I think that Kendrick Lamar, he took his time when everybody was counting him out. He took 2 weeks, but when he actually did attack, he had dropped 3 records in 3 days.
Swift.
So it's like, he waited strategically and he moved with extreme precision and the speed of light, right? Like we've never seen anything like that in such rapid time frame. It's always good to have other people champion you, right? As opposed to you championing yourself. Another great thing that Kendrick Lamar has done where he had the public talking about him, right? Where he's not on Instagram, he's not on Twitter, right? He has the public that's championing him and he's become like a man of the people. That's better than you saying like, I'm the best, I'm this, I'm that. Because if you keep championing yourself, you're going to garnish resentment as well, right? So I think he's done a great job at positioning from the aspect of he never talks, he doesn't do interviews, he's not on Instagram hardly, got like 2 posts on Instagram, but he's done a good job of having the public and other people, his peers, champion him so that his name is always being spread without him actually having to spread it. Then as far as trapping your opponents, I think that he definitely lured Drake into a trap.
Yeah, finally.
Calling him out 616. And he used Drake's formula, right? 2 back-to-back songs, calling him out. Then Drake drops a visual for a record that's actually a really good record. 6 minutes, 3 different beat changes. And then 10 minutes later, Kendrick Lamar drops and nobody cares about that record anymore, right? It literally is like a solar eclipse. And then use other people's strengths. So it's like he used not only that, but he also used that Mustard song, the club song, right? And now this is an anthem. That's Drake's formula. If you look at back to back, if you look at Stay Scheming when he dissed Common, Drake would make these. He's like the first person to actually ever do that, right? Where he made a diss record into a #1 song. Usually diss records are not played in clubs. Drake was making a diss record and he did it with push-ups, but then Kendrick Lamar took that formula and did it with the Not Like Us. And now that's become like a West Coast anthem that they just going crazy to right now, right? So
historically, yes.
Historically,
I wouldn't give Drake the credit for doing that.
Who's done that?
Who was the first?
The Richard Overs started with that.
But that's not a club record.
That's where it started.
That's in the 80s.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not giving Drake all the credit for that.
Modern hip hop. When you look at Ether, it's not a club record.
That's not.
Takeover is not a club record.
That's not getting played.
Second Round Knockout is not a club record.
No, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying I don't want to give Drake the credit for it.
Well, you have to give him credit for it.
For modern day.
About modern day hip hop, and he pioneered it. So you have to give him credit for it. But Kendrick, once again, he took his formula, he remixed it, and I think he executed his game plan flawlessly. and it's a case study. It's a case study on marketing, public perception, swaying public perception, execution, variety of different things that I think that I just looked at it from an interesting, like, okay, this is something that is bigger than just rap music. These are actually valuable business lessons. And when you're in business, this is a game. Like, it's a game of inches, and you gotta, it's like playing football. So it's like when you're dealing with your opponents, when you're dealing with your own product, when you're dealing with marketing, you have to be extremely thought out, extremely strategic. And for that reason, I think that Kendrick Lamar, I've never seen anybody execute at the highest level possible in this battle thing ever, other than him. He's done it flawlessly. And
he's done a great job.
He's done it flawlessly.
He's done a great job.
What did he do that was not flawless?
Well, so I said, what are we saying? I get what you're saying, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you're saying as long as people believe it.
It should matter, though.
But at some point, it does matter, right? Like, if I can prove to you that I hear what you're saying, right? But at some point, I can't say it's flawless if I've given you information and you use that information, the false information, alleged, like this is all alleged, right? And you use that and you made a whole song about that. That's not flawless to me. Did he outclass him in this? Absolutely. The timestamp thing was brilliant. The dropping right after he was brilliant. What going directly at him was brilliant. Creating an anthem, not just for himself, but for an entire coast, anybody who feels like they have an opposition. Yeah, They Not Like Us is now the record, and it's back to back on steroids. I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out. I mean, it is on streaming services. That is going to be nominated for something. It'll probably win something. It was a masterclass, not flawed, but a masterclass. It is in my opinion, I think it's the greatest moment that we've seen in hip hop, maybe ever. Just like from the anticipation standpoint, what they are delivering. It's not easy. Like, these guys are they're the elite of this generation. To be able to create songs and have them readily available in the time frame that they're doing is no easy task. So I gotta give them. They both deserve a lot of credit for doing that.
So, but here's the thing: the truth doesn't matter as long as the lie is more entertaining. Edward Bernays is credited as being the godfather of public relations in the United States of America.
Absolutely.
If you don't know who Eric Bernays is, he is the nephew of Sigmund and Freud, and he ushered in the modern era of public relations as we
are.
So many campaigns that he ran. One of them that comes to mind, he started a campaign in the 50s, 40s, maybe even before that. The nicotine companies was having a hard time because women did not smoke cigarettes. And obviously, if 50% of the population is not smoking, is not using your product, then that's not optimal, right? So they had to come up with a campaign to actually get women to start smoking. So he developed a campaign of women liberation and saying that smoking is actually correlated to women's rights and women's liberation.
Yeah.
As a result, millions of women started to smoke. And as a result, millions of women started to catch cancer and eventually died, right? And then everything came out later on that, no, this is actually not, it was never about women liberation. It was about getting women to smoke. My whole point in saying this is that it didn't matter. It was a campaign that was funded on lies and propaganda. That's what propaganda is, right? It was propaganda. Yep. It was lies and propaganda. And they got filthy rich off of that. So what I'm saying is this: it's still executed flawlessly. Even if it's a lie, it's still executed flawlessly because the public, the majority of the public, doesn't care. I'm just being objective. I care.
Yeah,
I care. But I'm just saying, just looking, because I'm reading the comments, I'm looking, he's created narratives about Drake that's extremely dangerous. Mm-hmm. When you start talking about pedophilia, when you start talking about you have a child that's unidentified, these are things that you really can't come back from, right? This is pretty, it's not like a
damning.
Yeah, I don't know if you can't come back from. I don't think it damages his career, but what it is, it makes it tough to respond, which he did respond and denied it. But you're right. I think there was a concerted campaign right? And there's a reason why he appears on Metro's and Future's "We Don't Trust You," right? Because one of the things and one of the lessons I would add to it is that you can't lose the trust of the public. And so once the campaign the album is, and it's very strategic, right? He could have appeared on any album. He could have put that verse anywhere. It's on that album because the title is called "We Don't Trust You." And then they double down.
And we still don't trust you.
And we still don't trust you. Now in the mind of the audience is like, you know what? We really never liked this guy, man. We don't even know why we don't trust him. But like, he's taking dudes, girls. Like, for us, we come up in a generation and it's like, if your arm ain't strong enough, that deserved to happen to you. Right? I understand this problem. I'm saying we come up in that era. Like, I took your girl because your arm ain't strong enough.
I'm about to black out.
Not your man. No, not
your that's your guy. Yeah.
These ain't your mans. These ain't your mans. Like,
these
ain't they one. What I'm saying is like, you lost the trust of the people. Now let's double down on it. Let's crack some more things that seem to show you like, this is why we shouldn't trust you. Here's the reasons we don't trust you. And it doesn't matter what you say for like even that, like pedophilia. That is we're not putting that on.
That's a hell of a thing.
Anybody that's a victim of that, our prayers go out to you. But on the same side, he's saying that you're an abuser. You abuse women. You actually abuse your. No one even cares about that.
Nobody cared.
Putting that on somebody is heavy. That's why I'm like, all right, this is
because people like
50,
and they hate Diddy.
Do they like him or they just get him?
No, they like 50 Cent.
They like 50.
They like 50. People like Kendrick Lamar and they don't like Drake. And it's a industry propaganda campaign to take the boy out. However you feel, this is a
for sure. This is orchestrated plan.
What happens when he doesn't go out though? That shows you the strength of the person, the competitor.
For the time being,
limits. That's another rule of law.
I threw that to you.
That's my last thing.
I threw that to you.
Don't exceed the limits, because what you can do is that when you back somebody in a corner, right, you can turn the public against you. Nobody likes a bully, so he has to be careful. The whole industry has to be careful of like, now if Drake is seen as somebody who the industry is trying to take out, right? And they're trying to bully him and they're trying to place false narratives on his name. Now, all of these memes, then they joking on him can turn into support for him and then hate for the other people that's actually trying. Yeah. So you got to be careful when you have victory, accept the victory and don't spike the football. Like, don't go too far. Yeah. Because this can turn, it can turn. The tides can turn on you, and if it turns on you, now you're in trouble. Ian, what's your
I want to throw it to Ian because I want to leave because I saw you posted this, and I know that you had posted that don't exceed your limits was one of your things. But Ian, and I know we talked about 20v1, right? Like that's a whole thing. But like, you might think it's one guy, but you don't know who's backing that guy. You don't know the money that's behind that guy. You don't know who's in jeopardy. And I think, at least in kind of some of the things that you were posting this weekend. So I'm gonna give the floor to you.
Yeah, let me start with some of the things he did wrong. First thing I thought when Like That stayed number one, that relationship with Lucian isn't as tight as it used to be. Because if the powers that be are letting that record be number one, and then Kendrick dropped the disc through Interscope, not PG Lang, but through Interscope, who is owned by Universal, it tells me there's some trouble somewhere. Fix that, number one. And I know some people was like, no, he just licensed it to him. Interscope is profiting off of the disc. So is Universal. So they're the biggest breadwinners in this, right? Number two, going back to the moral issue of you can't snake and try and take everyone's girl. Like, we can argue that's not his man, but it finally came out, so we can talk about it. Him snaking Wayne when Wayne was in jail is foul as fuck.
That did happen.
He got some,
but we can't blame Tammy.
And then, right? So going back to having discipline and like not crossing, my thing with all of my friends, like, we never gonna fall out over women or money. We can't like stay in your own lane. Like you said, Rashad, don't exceed the limits. And also too, if you know someone is really ready to go to war with you, you got to have 10, 15 replies back. That's why when I had an issue a couple years ago, I come on, bam, hit that voicemail. Cool. And I 20 more I could have played. Also, for those of you who are looking to engage in beef, you don't have the Pyrus in your back pocket and 2 T's like Kendrick does. I am begging y'all this summer, don't go for and Kendrick's fooled everybody into thinking, oh, he's just a nice guy that just raps. Oh, go out there playing. Go out there fucking with that boy. You will find out. Shout out to everybody on the West. He got the Crips behind. I'm like, got a whole West Coast. Don't think Drake's sweet. Rest up. Wassa's cool. Like, let's keep it on wax.
Yeah, it's music. Let's make it keep it music.
Just keep it on music.
It ain't music.
But
not anymore.
It ain't music.
No, not anymore. But what I'm saying, going to the big point of arrogance, once you engage in war, you have to be sure not to upset the people at the top. Same with Taylor Swift and Kanye. Kanye tried to jump in a little beef and Future didn't even want no parts of it. I heard a little rumor, Taylor part of the reason why he can't get a deal. It's interesting. When you go to war with people, like Troy and Rashad, I can't come to your house and then have an issue with you 2 weeks later. Then you see me walking to go get Chipotle and you're not going to make fun of me. You got to be careful who you beef with.
It depends on if you're wearing a book bag.
Jan Sport, right? Be careful. And this goes back to alliances. Like, he broke down the alliances too much. And now when people want to team up on you, you don't have it. Like, I haven't heard Lil Baby come out and drop nothing for him. J. Cole went away after he got that call. Like, keep your alliances intact, keep your credibility intact, keep your morals intact, and everything will be good. But shout out to the boy. You know, I rock with the boy.
Like I said, the last thing I'll say about this is Drake. Yeah, no matter how you feel about him, I give him all the respect in the world because he ain't have to do this.
Absolutely,
he stood toe to toe, and it's like a heavyweight fight. Like, you know, like he everything that he put out was hot lyrically. Like, he ain't put out nothing whack.
Yeah,
and he gained. I always have respect for Drake, but I have tremendous respect for Drake. Kendrick Lamar, hats off. Performed flawlessly. I think that Kendrick Lamar won, but I don't think Drake won. I don't think Drake lost. I think that Kendrick Lamar won. I think the only person that lost was J. Cole. We'll talk about that on Blackout. But
yeah,
shout out to Cole though. That's my guy.
Can I get a microphone this week? Can I get a microphone?
I'm just being honest.
Yes, please. And also Drake owning damn near everybody catalog too, and you know, Joe alluded to the Gamma situation.
He kind of alluded to it too. He's like, that's why, you know, now they understand there's a price to pay when you say my name. There's still some stuff to uncover. It doesn't have to continue for me. I think I'm with you. I don't need it to continue. I doubt they'll stop.
You gotta reply to every enemy.
Yeah, I doubt they'll stop, but it doesn't need to continue.
I think it's over. It's over.
You think he doesn't reply again?
It's up to Kendrick. Because Drake was the last one to.
But he might just do it again, just because.
Nah. Now you're looking crazy. Just let it go. Let it go, bro.